What is euthanasia? Euthanasia is a term of killing with the aid of a doctor, not to be confused with assisted suicide. So what is the difference between euthanasia and assisted suicide? Well, euthanasia is when a doctor gives the patient, who is presumably on life support or anything else that prolongs one's life by means of machine, a dose of a lethal drug consisting of barbiturate, paralytic, and a potassium solution. While assisted suicide is when someone who could be terminally ill or in chronological pain is given a pill that will end their life in their own free time and the comfort of their own home. A lot of people are against euthanasia, and they tend to join groups to voice their thoughts and opinions on this subject. I managed to get an interview with a man who is in contact with a group called Care Not Killing. We discussed about a couple of things over coffee and some biscuits, so this interview has been cut down and will presume during the show. So please enjoy, and I'm sorry for the bad audio quality.
Care Not Killing is essentially a coalition of groups, an alliance of about 40 groups, who are united in their opposition to the legalisation of euthanasia. So essentially we have two aims. One is resisting legal change to bring in euthanasia or assisted suicide, and the other is the promotion of palliative care. But certainly from a Christian point of view, and I'm a Christian, I think there is an issue there of faith at the end of the day, of whether people are willing in the face of death to have faith and seek God, or whether they want to defiantly assert their independence. And that's essentially what underlies this whole debate, this desire for autonomy.
During the interview, he admitted that he is a Christian, which made me believe that, whether be it true or not, but in my opinion, that there is a lot of Christians who believe that assisted suicide is wrong. In a sense, his belief taught him that taking one life is acting as God. But something interesting came up. If we, man that is, were shaped into God's form, wouldn't you think we should be allowed to have the capabilities of God? In a way, doctors could be the only ones to have the power to preserve life. Why aren't they allowed to be able to take life under extreme circumstances, or give peace to the person who is in extreme pain? I do, however, have a talk with a doctor over mail, so I have had a guest speaker voicing their answer. What is your opinion on euthanasia?
Well, I'm for, and I think every man has the right to decide how he wants to die. But I also believe that we must be very careful. It is sometimes very difficult to distinguish between depressive illness and a patient who has reflected the question and has made his decision knowingly. You is a case by basis.
Do you believe that euthanasia should be legalised for the terminally ill?
Yes, but it must also be highly regulated and restricted to terminal patients. For example, having a psychiatric opinion, the opinion of several doctors, a period of reflection sufficient long. Once it is legalised, there is often a lot of drift, and it's dangerous.
Would you recommend someone who is terminally or on life support and assisted suicide?
No. I think I would never advise euthanasia. I do not propose to a patient that it is a request. It is a request that must come from the patient himself and not be moved by another person, even if it is a doctor.
Have you experienced any type of assisted suicide?
I have no experience in this area, and I hope I never have.
Thank you very much. What I find fascinating was her last answer about how she does not want to euthanize anyone. So in a sense, not everyone does want to be the cause of one's death professionally. That leads to more questions, and that means more answers to find out. Does, in a medical profession, give permission to kill someone leave a mental scar? I'm sure it does. Does a human have the right to kill a fellow man? Of course not. Do we want to see our loved ones in pain? No. We don't want to kill the ones we love, but at the same time, we don't want to see them in pain. So what does that leave us? If we allowed euthanasia or assisted suicide, would it be better for the country? In my personal opinion, I really don't think so. Don't get me wrong though, it would be okay to give peace to people who are in pain. I would like to go back to my first interview with Gordon about should we allow people to stay alive.
So, should people be forced to stay alive?
No, people shouldn't be forced to stay alive in the sense that we shouldn't treat people unnecessarily, and the medical profession don't do that at the present. We don't believe in prolonging physical life forever, basically.
The talk with Gordon lasted for 33 minutes, and it was rather interesting about the discussions that we've been having. If euthanasia is legalised, then there would be a tight restriction on the use of it. But at the same time, there will be people who will abuse those rights. As always, when one thing is in proposition or heard by the public, there will always be an opposition. For example, Xbox PS3, black and white. So it's no wonder why there are so many people against it as well. But at the same time, there are people who are for euthanasia or assisted suicide. There are many people who, in their own way, believe it's the right thing to do. An interview with Emma, just an average girl with some views about assisted suicide and euthanasia. So, Emma Clark, yes?
Yes.
So, tell me, what is your opinion on euthanasia?
Really, if that person is suffering, I think that it would be better to let them go instead of having them suffer more and more and more about it. But I know everyone's opinion is different, but I'm just saying what my opinion is, it's not, everyone's entitled to what they think, so that's what I think, really.
So, in a sense, say your family member had a terminal illness, would you be willing to kill them, just to give them peace?
Well, I've had this conversation with a few people in my family about it. They'd be like, yeah, just kill me because I don't want to be suffering, obviously. But yeah, obviously it's not a nice thing to do if they're, obviously it's someone close to you, then you don't want to lose them. But at the end of the day, everyone lives and everyone dies. But it's just, it's not the nicest way to go, but if that's the way it happens, it's the way it happens, Nothing much. If you've not got much options, then put them out of their misery.
See, if you were in that condition, would you get someone to kill you?
If I was, almost dead type thing.
Well, if you did have a terminal illness.
If I knew I was going to die anyway, then yes. Because it just saves me suffering. I keep saying that, but it's the way that I think about it. If I'm suffering, then I don't want other people to see me suffering. I don't want them to see me being in pain. So yeah, I would ask somebody to switch off the life support.
Okay, so do you believe that the government is doing what they should do, in a sense of trying to oppose euthanasia? Do you believe that they are thinking about the people instead of, keeping the country as it is, like a free country?
Yeah, I think they're thinking of the people, not making decisions for them. Because you can't make a decision for somebody that you don't know. Even the doctors say, they're not going to make it. What do you want to do? It's well, people can't make decisions for people. It's hard at the time, but you need to make a decision.
Do you think people should be more aware of euthanasia as a whole, or assisted suicide, as they should study about it or learn about it more, rather than what the papers say?
I think it would be quite good for people to know more about it, because, I didn't know much about it until you started talking about it, and I was like, oh, well, there he goes again. No, but it would be nice to know more about it, other than hearing about it and going, oh, is that